What about the
The
Bears?
Vikings.
Bears?
Bears organizationally, I don't trust them.
Bears for what?
Bears
Playoffs?
Super Bowl.
Or
Super
like
Bowl.
the Woods.
Taking
Yeah, Bear.
For what?
What are we talking? We're talking about the
Grizzly?
Super Bowl here.
Black-
Straight to the action, there's a lot going on. Trying to lock these predictions down, right? Call me John. I'ma talk to Jared, cause he might keep me calm. Had my top pick for this week, but he bombed. Caleb said he had a weak week, but he's strong. Jonathan said he repeat, now it's on. In love with the game, who you got, can I wait? Drop by the dorm, come and watch, it's the babe.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorn Debate podcast, and welcome to our belated Super Bowl episode, our recap episode. We really wanted to digest this Super Bowl because for some of us it was harder to swallow than others, and some it was really easy and it was joyful to see a Super Bowl like this. So we have both sides of the spectrum right now. We see Caleb in his full-on Eagles gear. It looks like he's going to the parade. And then we have Jonathan, who is just all in black, wearing all black tonight for what'd you say? It was the funeral.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I still think I haven't got over the loss. It's been about a week, and I'm still going through it. I'm still having dreams of Devontae, or what's his name?
Devontae Smith on the Eagles?
Devontae Smith or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Scoring that touchdown and all that. I'm having nightmares that the defensive line is coming to get me and chase me in my dreams. It's been tough.
Wow.
It's been tough. I wanted to see the three-peat. We've never seen it in NFL history. We could have been alive to see it and tell our kids and great-grandkids one day. Now it's just how it's been, where it's just back-to-back. We want to see something different. It's tough to swallow because I thought it would happen now. I thought we could see history now, but I guess we'll have to wait to see if Patrick Mahomes can do it eventually. I think he'll definitely be back. That's a good part, kind of rooting for Mahomes. Again, I'm a Cowboys fan first, but I like the Chiefs because of Patrick Mahomes. He's from Dallas, and so I want him to do well. I want him to be the best there ever was in terms of quarterback, in terms of football player. And I still think he has opportunity to do that because his team at least makes the AFC Championship every year. So that's a good thing about rooting for him. So it's not like a random team that you don't know if they'll be back, right? They're always back around this vicinity.
And not only that, it's a home AFC conference championship. So they've never had an away conference championship game. So.
Wait, is that
They
true?
did.
They did
Yeah.
fight Baltimore, right?
Oh, was it Baltimore last year?
Or was Buffalo? They've had, because that was the debate.
Yeah, there's divisional.
Baltimore last year.
The
Those
whole
are Bengals.
the whole road last year was on the
Remember we had
road.
that debate. So he can win. Even if it's not home, he'd still won. So it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the AFC.
Demoralizing. Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, the AFC just can't get to this guy.
Yeah, that's can't wait to get to him.
And so, honestly, since I've watched him play, remember we're watching him play in our actual dorm room several years ago, and I've never seen a game from him like that. That was my first time ever seeing a game from him like that. Because usually, sometimes he starts second half.
He played better against the Bucks that year because at least that was something that Chiefs fans hung their hat on. Was he actually kept them from getting completely.
Yeah, I mean he was more mobile and he was trying to find a way to make them competitive in the game. But I think the Eagles defensive front looked a little bit more. Maybe it was because he got sacked more or he couldn't run around more. But they seemed to contain him a lot more than the Bucks did. The Bucks, at least, again, he could scramble and try to make something happen. But this one, he couldn't even scramble, and that caused him to make mistakes. And so, yeah, I've never seen him act like that. Usually in the first half, he's you're okay, he's going to come back in the second half. He always starts the game kind of rough sometimes here and there, but he's always going to end it well. He technically ended it okay, but still at that point they didn't care because they knew they were going to win.
Yeah, it was garbage time.
Yeah. It was garbage time. So I've never seen him play like that, so I was really shocked. I was very shocked.
I took a picture of the Patrick Mahomes drop back stats, and he dropped back 42 times, was pressured 16 times, sacked 6 times, but Eagles sent 0 blitz.
See what I'm
They
saying?
didn't blitz at all the whole game, and were able to get 6 sacks. That I mean, when they were showing that, it's like you can't even fathom how that's even possible. And then you look at the film, and it's awful. Like, these guys are getting spun
Destroyed.
around. These offensive linemen are getting spun
embarrassing.
around 360. Yeah, literally embarrassing. Or getting on Patrick Mahomes' interception, I think to DeJean, the lineman literally just got stuffed and pushed
into
all the way
him.
back into Mahomes.
Oh, that was on Bonds, yeah.
Bond, yeah. So on Bond's interception. So even when they're like blocking, they're just getting destroyed. Like, it was a complete overpowering performance by the Eagles in the trenches. And what's hilarious is they're all, well, not all, but most of them were all young guys.
They're all
like
young, yeah.
Jalen
Georgia.
Carter, rookie deal. Jordan Davis, rookie deal. Nolan Smith, rookie deal. Cooper DeJean, rookie deal. Like,
That's the thing.
These are-
They have to.
Williams, Jalex Hunt, all these guys.
dude, they
They
have,
have to-
these guys
Yeah.
for like 4 more years at least. And even like a guy like Jordan Davis, who you picked like 2 years ago, you still got
Big
2 more
boy.
years of him. This is like really scary because you
scary.
look at like their contracts next year, and they're not losing a lot of people. They're losing like, I think Zach Bond's up for a free agency. They might sign him back. Brandon Graham might retire. That's probably it. So it's
Yeah.
like you're returning all these guys, and they're
Young.
all rookies going
Yeah.
into the prime of their career. They're not
That's
even
crazy.
in their prime yet. That's
Yeah.
crazy to think about, and they just
It is
overpowered
crazy.
the AFC champions.
And let me tell you what, the Chiefs better make some changes on the offensive line front because, number one, their offensive line just got embarrassed in front of the entire world. And so teams aren't scared of them anymore. They know what to attack. And so they better change things or else.
But you gotta have the personnel
Yeah,
to
it's
do
it's
it.
tough to do that. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
the Giants beat Brady in the 2 Super Bowls. That you have to have 4 guys, and so you keep that 5th guy back to play, in the linebacker zone, and you have to be able to win with 4 guys. And yeah, the Giants were able to do it. Eagles were able to do it this game, but that's not easy to do. I mean, teams have been trying to do it for a long time. It's no secret what the Eagles' strategy is. Everybody just saw it.
Yeah.
Same when the Eagles won in Super Bowl with Foles, like and the Giants too. It's like these Eagles and Giants organizations traditionally just. Well, first, Jonathan, thank you for being here. I want to say to the audience, like, 'cause you're a Chiefs fan, and I say for all your takes, you always show up. I respect it, and I know Eagles fans have a tough reputation. I know I don't like to strut. We are here to talk about the game, but going back to what we're talking about with the D lines, when you look at the NFL, it's really like 32 different companies competing with the same access to resources to one thing, and it's like not every team invests in D lines the way the NFC East, Giants, and Eagles traditionally have. Eagles in particular, because I know them well. I would say the Giants, even to this day, try to do really well with their D line, but that's honestly like, and it's respect to Mahomes, but it's how you beat these great quarterbacks that get the ball out quickly. Just constantly 4-man pressures that generate you get pretty much a blitz without a blitz, changes the whole dynamic of the game. I was surprised that, there's a bit of a parallel with one aspect of the O-line. That one, I was surprised they didn't really send any help to the O-line. Like, if you are getting hit like that, I know I've seen some players even in the NFL say like, halftime adjustments are a myth. And I'm like, I don't think that's totally true. I've been in those half times when I was like playing, obviously not in the NFL, but like when you're an O-line, I remember there's like, there's a bit of a dialogue where it's like, hey, I need some help with this guy. He's just beating me. And the team will help you because it is a
Yeah.
team effort.
Yeah.
And it's like either get another person on with you, but I didn't see any of that. And the parallel.
I did see Kelsey help block, but then on the plays that
Terrible.
Kelsey helped block, I still saw them sack him. Like,
Yeah,
and it
they
was
need
terrible.
They
The
need,
blocking
they need,
wasn't-
They should have did more formations where like,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't Kelsey per se, another tight end or something,
Right.
maybe a couple tight ends, a running back. They should have put all tools on the table.
but why
and give Mahomes
Kelsey?
time to?
Why is Kelsey blocking?
Yeah,
Put
why is he
Noah
shouldn't be blocking
Gray
at this
there or
point?
something.
Yeah, they need a younger guy.
Normally
to
is a good blocker, but in that game,
But he's
like,
old. He's
you
getting
watched-
old. Man,
yeah,
he's getting
somebody posted like whole like
Seen the video, yeah.
not highlight but low light of like his blocking and like
Did you
Yeah.
see that play that he gave up? That like Mahomes was scrambling and Kelsey's just sitting in the middle of the field, like just standing
Yeah.
there, and then
Which
Mahomes
is-
ends up scrambling for a first down.
That's
but like
age. He's
Kelsey's
getting
just
old.
sitting there.
His
I think
gas
there was
is
a
running out.
penalty, but it's not a good look in I think Travis saw the penalty and was like, the play is over. But it is not a good look. As well as, like, Jared, you were saying, I saw a low light, and I don't want to pile on Travis because he's a great player. But there was one where he was still in his stance when the ball was snapped, and just in snap.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, like, you put those two clips together, the world's going to see it, and it's like, well, where's your hustle? And like you're saying, like, Noah Gray's a great blocker. I think part of it was I was surprised. I mentioned in the last podcast that I kind of alluded to it, and I give credit to John. You were really, like, more bold about calling the potential blowout. But two things I alluded to was one was the Tampa game to compare because there's a lot of narrative hype with Mahomes. But two was like seeing the old Andy Reid's old ghosts. Like I respect him a lot. I'm so happy he's gotten rings. Except for the Eagles one. Like I love Andy Reid. What he did for the Eagles. But like I remember on the Eagles, he used to have he used to not invest in wide receiver talent. Or sometimes just stick passing a lot. And I got to see a little bit of that in the Super Bowl, sadly. Because after the halftime, you think they run more, but their run attempts just went to zero. They didn't screen. They didn't do the formations. They went away from the run. And it's like, even if you're not getting anything at the run, you got to keep doing it to help your O-line a little bit. Because it makes them drop more. It just helps the dynamic a lot.
I think it started to get away from them. Like at some point, everyone realizes the only thing you can do is pass. You can't catch up just by running the ball. And so they in the very beginning they should have mixed it up more and ran it passed it to keep the defense honest. They didn't do that, and so the defense started realizing, oh wait, they gotta just pass to get in this game. So let's try to let them run and see what happens. And every time they got Pacheco got the ball, he could have made things happen. They needed honestly, guys, they need a legit running back. I think Kareem started to get.
They've won so many Super Bowls without a legit running back.
But they need at this point, if you want to try to beat the Eagles. Because the Eagles, you have to keep it in the back of your mind. If you want to win another championship, the Eagles are probably going to be there, good chance. And if they face that defense again, is it going to be an embarrassment like that? They have to make adjustments quick because there's one team in the NFL that looks clearly better than them. There's one team in the NFL that knocked them out. Like I said, it wasn't close. The Eagles are better. They knocked them out.
But you said Pacheco. You said Pacheco is really good. So. But now he's not. He was
good last year. I think he got injured this year for a few weeks, and I guess that's kind of slowed him down. I don't know, but he needs help. Mahomes needs help.
He ran tough. I respect it. I think one debate was the parallel I was getting to earlier with the Eagles on the O-line. I mean, obviously Jeff Stoutland's the offensive line coach for the Eagles. He's a legend. I mean, what he's done with those guys is incredible. But Mekhi Becton was one of our O-linemen on the Eagles, was declared a bust by the Jets. Now, it's the Jets, people go there to die, sadly. But like they moved him into a position that was better for him, coached him up, and there's a video of him crying because it's like the redemption arc was great. But then I saw with the commentators talking about like Joe Thuney, I think, was playing out of position technically. Now they needed the help, but it's like it brought me back to what people thought with Mekhi Becton originally on the Jets is they put him out of position. And I think it's not fair to say because the Chiefs did have a problem, but it's like you put these guys in a position that they're not adjusted to, and then you're surprised at the results. And I think too in the offseason I saw some Chiefs fan accounts being like, there's a lot of I don't want to say chirping, but like a lot of Chiefs within the Chiefs community. There was debate about letting, I think it was Orlando Brown go, one of their O linemen, and they had to get paid. And it's like maybe we should have kept him and made it work somehow. And I think those decisions, as well as like I mentioned about like obviously Rashee Rice is injured, but like not having the threats on the wide receiving the way it was like an old Andy Reid ghost, so to speak. And they used to have it with Tyreek Hill. They still won without him, but that's probably because they had Kelsey. But Kelsey wasn't quite there this game.
But
and
you had Marquise Brown and DeAndre Hopkins, and like
that's what people
how
forget.
Was that not enough though?
No, that's what people. That's what people forget. The Eagles. Sorry to catch
Marquise Brown.
No, yeah, no,
good,
that's
but it's like outsourcing talent. Yes, it's good, but it's not like in-house like a commitment to the pass game.
In the very beginning, like I said Eagles should win. They have a better team. I knew on paper they had the better team, but for some reason Mahomes always finds a way to win. So I thought he could make something happen, and I think the coaches did too. They're like, on paper they look better, but let's keep on passing because we think Mahomes can save us. He wasn't able to.
You did have Mahomes, to be fair. Yeah,
it was so unbearable.
Well, the thing is,
the decision not to pass.
I think one determining factor. I mean, Mahomes in seasons with Kadarius Toney, he's won 2 Super Bowls and lost none. And then without Kadarius
let's really
Toney,
talk about this.
Yeah, that's really the story of this.
Didn't he get arrested?
Yeah, let's not bring this up.
Oh my,
he did just get arrested for something bad.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I think this is the first time where a team is fully complete with the acquisition of Saquon Barkley. That changed the Eagles. That changed the
Yeah.
Eagles. Okay,
It did.
There's no weakness on the Eagles at this point, and everyone knows it. And so, again, I think people forget like Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. They have great talent. Chiefs, we didn't honestly. They haven't been the best this season, even though they've been 15-2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Their offensive talent haven't been the best. Okay, a rookie had to step up. Xavier Worthy had probably one of the best receiver performances in Super Bowl history as a rookie, and that's amazing. But he had to step up, and other guys really didn't step up. DeAndre Hopkins, who usually doesn't drop passes, he had one season
yeah.
where he didn't drop any
Yeah.
pass.
He's washed.
Right.
He's
that's
washed.
right.
He's washed. Marquise
Yeah,
Brown,
but the
Hollywood
thing
Brown.
is, look, they're going to get Rasheed Rice back. So receiver set because he's a top 10 receiver. And then
okay,
you have
so
Worthy and you have
okay, you have
Kelsey.
Worthy.
So
Kelsey,
what
no.
else do you-
Kelsey, he's number one. We don't know if he's coming back. Number two,
He's
you
coming
could clearly
back,
tell he's
come on.
washed. I mean, not washed, but you could clearly tell he's declining.
What?
He's
He is declining, but you
That's
get
probably a better way
Rasheed
to say
Rice
it.
back. Rasheed Rice is going to be top 10.
But do y'all think Noah Gray would? I mean, you can't replace Kelsey, but Noah Gray, I picture him more as a blocking tight end, like Calcaterra on the Eagles a little bit. Like he's good, he can pass, he can get the ball, but like you kind of want to, like, you think of a Brock. Like, will they draft a tight end like a Brock Bowers, someone that's like a prominent catcher?
Yeah.
And
They just need
right.
offensive line.
I think they have a good. I think
Yeah,
they have decent.
I'm worried
decent-
about the
just-
wrong thing because
Yeah, no, I think.
Mahomes
Yeah, I think they have
alone-
decent. Yeah, I think they have decent tight
They
ends.
won the
like,
Super Bowl last year with worse.
Right.
They-
Worthy,
I mean-
Worthy wasn't there. Hopkins wasn't there. Marquise Brown wasn't there. Rasheed Rice was a rookie.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. He
So
really
you don't
doesn't
even need
have much
receivers.
help.
That's a good point. Yeah,
He just
They-
needs
they need
time.
O-line.
Just-
O-line.
He needs
give him
time.
an
Last
O-line,
year,
give him
the
time.
defensive line, even though Bosa's great and all that, they weren't like this. This
Yeah.
is like I've never seen a defensive line.
I've never seen it.
humiliate an
Sure.
offensive line like this.
I'll
in the
tip my
Super Bowl.
hat to. We talked about this before on the last podcast about two things that I saw show up in the game. It was one that Spagnuolo had never played against Saquon Barkley. Like they had played against the Giants, but Barkley was injured at that time. So this is his first game ever having to coach against Saquon. Two was Vic Fangio being 0-8, and we talked about like look under the hood, and he actually played Mahomes better than other defensive coordinators with poorer weapons. And now he had the Eagles defense, and had I give a tip my hat to that coaching aspect, the coaching advantage the Eagles had with Saquon never seeing Spags, and the D-line coach. I mean, Mahomes is so good. I mean, it's not every quarterback when they're scrambling has their own quirks, but the D-line on the Eagles was so good at taking out that middle route. Like so often he pulls the pocket back and then he'll sprint through the middle. And the Eagles D-line was aware of his tendencies to run and they just collapsed that middle, which is how they sacked him so much. Like the pursuit, the coaching that taught them like, yo, this is how he does this is how he do. They collapse. When you saw Hurts actually get away with some of those up the middle because it was so open.
I
It
was
wasn't
just
a
gonna
planned run.
say that.
Right? Like
He was
they were
their
just
leading
coached-
rusher.
and he beat
was
his own
the
record.
Eagles' leading rusher. He had 72 yards, tutty, obviously from the tush push. But dude, multiple times he would keep it and run the ball after kind of sitting in the pocket for a while. And I'm like, dude, this is what Mahomes would do in all the playoff games and in the Super Bowl. And now Hurts is kind of taking one out of Mahomes' book and just saying like, why am I sitting back here the whole time looking for a pass and maybe do a bad pass? We'll just run it because they're giving me room. And then at that point, it was like, oh, this is going to get dangerous because now you have Hurts running the ball, and he's passing
He was fully healthy.
way better than he has this whole season. He was
was
like
healthy.
on the money.
He had
People were
so
saying
much
like
time.
shut down Barkley, make Hurts run and Hurts pass, and Hurts was very happy to take the call. That's why I think I texted you guys like for all the crap he's taken, even from at times me like as a passer, like this perception people had. I think in the clearest terms possible, Hurts and the Eagles have said like, yeah, we can ball like however you want to throw it, give it to us. And I think what I liked about the Eagles with Saquon is Saquon definitely changed the game, but it was certainly a team effort because he didn't statistically perform well, but what I saw was the Eagles never stopped running, which I love that because teams get scared and stop running. And two was the gravity, like every time, even on those if they got
25
1 yard,
rushes for Barkley.
and it's like 2 yards per carry or something. But
Yeah.
what people don't first is that's an average. Like there was one where he had like 7 yards. Like it's not just his ability to run, but the threat of his ability to run that had like a gravitational effect on that defense,
And-
because they were
yeah.
so committed to stopping the run. And they, in a way, they did. But then you have Hurts who can pass the ball.
Yeah, and I think we shouldn't forget. Yes, Barkley. We know how great he is, but I think the commentators did a good job of explaining how big the offensive line for the Eagles are. Like they're
Yeah.
huge guys.
Biggest
So I mean that's
history.
why that
Yeah, so
explains
how
why
do
he's been
you-
so successful. Okay, I think it really determines how well running back does the offensive line. He was on the Giants. He had decent seasons, but he didn't do anything like this. And why is that? The Eagles' offensive line, they're massive. They're incredible. And so, like I said, on paper, the Eagles are, like everyone knows, that they're the best team from offensive line, defensive line. Barkley, hurt, like it's tough to defend this team, and they did a good job the first half. Mahomes gave him 14 points. Like, yeah, it was tough to watch, but I think they did a good job of not making Saquon Barkley be the hero. I think that was a game plan. If you shut down Saquon Barkley, Hurts will struggle. I mean, Hurts proved that, hey, I can do whatever you want me to do. We've just been handed to Saquon because that's how we've defeated the past few teams. But if you need me to run the ball, if you need me to make passes, I can do that. And he did that. He impressed me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think he was well deserving of that MVP because I didn't expect him to have a game like that.
He threw some dimes. And I wonder, too, like you're saying, if there certainly was the game plan to stop Barkley. I wonder if the Chiefs coaching staff underestimated Hurts and that
Yeah.
bit them back. Because, like, the dagger to Smitty, the
Yeah.
passes to A.J. Brown, just openly throwing contested balls, like knowing that A.J. Brown, I don't know if you guys saw his Instagram post, like yeah, the Super Bowl is nice, but what I love the most about this game is when a defender can't cover me and I have to tell them about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this man is sick. I
And
love
that,
it.
Wow.
he even made like that reading of like that even makes it more incredible. That
Yeah.
reading of that book, like I was kind of joking. I thought there was some beef and stuff, but apparently like he just torched everyone.
Yeah.
During the Super Bowl. So it was tough.
But did you
We,
think at the half it was over, or did you? Because
I was gonna. Well, that's what I was gonna pull out.
Okay.
Caleb, you're pretty like conservative when it comes to calling a game. When did you actually like legit be like, okay, we got it?
like honestly, I looked at the time clock because I felt like you're gonna ask. It was 8:01 in the fourth. When I was
Dude,
like, all right,
what?
time. Because all right, this is what I was alluding to is people. I mean, if people know their history, it becomes a problem when you try to bank against it. What I say was that is like, yo, I still remember Patriots Falcons. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care about the deficit. Like, we got to keep pounding this team because they're a good team. They're good players. They know ball. Don't stop. Like, play as if it's 0-0 at the half because anything that can be done can be undone. And then I'm like, all right, the dagger to Smitty. I'm like, okay. And at the fourth, I'm like, all right, now time. And I'm thinking of all like the Miracle in the Meadowlands, like the huge
You're
amounts
trying
of
to
points.
think of every miracle possible,
any-
being like, all right,
yeah.
has this been done before?
Yeah.
And you know your history. It's like, all right, now we can. Now I'm like, all right, statistically, I was surprised they did the Gatorade under 3 minutes. Now in hindsight, like it was
That
over.
was a little sketch. I was like, I don't know if I should. And it was yellow. It was yellow.
It
by
was
the way, so
yellow,
that-
which-
it corresponded with the Eagles.
It's the best flavor, I think. But yeah, no, because I respect this team, and I'll say they had some garbage time points, but for the Chiefs, I saw more fight in them. Even in the Bucks game, it was statistically probably over, but unlike other teams, I think they actually had fight in them and were trying to do something. I mean, they scored like the end scoreline is like, it doesn't really show because it was like 40-3 with like the real. If you take out like when the starters came out. And that's when Mahomes started getting some better stats. But, like, I think he was trying, but he scored so fast, So I'm like, all right, it's out of respect. I don't take it easy on you guys, in my
Yeah.
eyes. Like, I'm like, keep pounding the ball.
What
Yeah,
about
I thought
you, Jonathan?
so. The first half, I think there was like a couple minutes left, and I think it was like 24-3 or something. So I was like, okay, if they score here, they have a really good chance because they're only going to be down 2 scores, and they get the ball back first half and all that.
Right.
Then was it before that? Then he threw an interception, and I think did the Eagles score again? I don't remember exactly what happened, but basically when it ended 24-3, that half ended, I was like, okay, this is really scary. It's gonna be tough for them to come back. And then I remembered, like Caleb was saying, Falcons and Patriots. Wasn't it around like 20? Was it 24?
28-3.
28-3. Okay, I was like, perfect. this is gonna be like, this is basically Tom Brady reincarnated. I was like, if he's able to pull this
That's
off,
what I was thinking. Like if
this is Tom Brady incarnated.
he makes a Tom Brady comeback, they three-peat. We'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah, I was like, perfect. Let's get this done. Then yeah, first half, the second half, I thought they'd make adjustments, right? I thought Andy Reid, obviously he's a great coach, but I definitely thought they would be able to have their way in the second half. The first drive was the exact same. After I saw that, I was like, okay, it's gonna be tough for them to come back. If you're not able to make anything happen on that first drive through like it was a long halftime show. With all that, you can't think of anything to get going. I knew it was gonna be a long half, and honestly, I think at the beginning of fourth quarter, I turned off my TV because I knew where I was headed. I was like, I can waste my time.
Third quarter, you called it?
No, top of fourth quarter, I just turned off my TV.
Oh,
Top
top
of the
of fourth.
fourth.
And then I saw on the ESPN app that they scored. I was like, wait, 40-22. So I turned it on. There's 2 minutes left, and I realized it was garbage time. So I was like, okay. Okay. So,
Yeah, I knew right when Devonta Smith caught that touchdown, which I think was somewhere in the middle of the third or something.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's done. Because that made it like 31-3 or whatever it was. I'm like, it's done. Because you could just tell that was like that they're not going to be able to score that much.
The commentary was like, I mean, and that's what I think we talked about on the last podcast was to beat the best, you got to be bold, you got to be aggressive, and aggressive to your identity, like not just aggressive for aggressive sake. But even the commentator on that play was like, it looks like the Eagles are going to run some clock here or throw the dagger. It was like a great, and that's the mentality they've had all season against even no matter who you are, So
Such a great call, dude.
great call. Like you got to respect. I think it's Kevin Burkhardt.
I saw Sirianni. I don't know if I think it was true, but I saw some clip of him like saying on that drive. He was like
Kellen.
talking to Kellen Moore, and he's like, "Call it, just call it."
Oh yeah.
And then that's when he called the Devonta Smith deep touchdown. So
Which makes me
Sirianni
think-
does do something.
Well, like I said, if you move Mekhi Becton, it's like he wins. So it's like he had to get that win to get the people chirping like something that you can't really counter. You won a Super Bowl.
yeah, but I even though it was sad to see, like bad to watch, and it was a terrible game to be honest, because it was just so one-sided. I'm glad it was like that. Now it's like there's no question. They lost. There's no controversy, no nothing. They knocked out the champs, and that's what I wanted to see.
Rig.
Too
Yeah,
big to
exactly.
rig.
Let's talk about Super Bowl 60 because that's next year.
Oh boy.
Super Bowl 60 in 2026. The odds makers have done predictions for who they think has the best odds to make the Super Bowl. Chiefs and Ravens are at the top at plus 650. Then you have the Eagles at plus 700. Bills plus 700. Lions plus 700. And then it's a wash for all these other ones. So basically you have 2 NFC teams that have high odds and 3 AFC teams. Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, and Eagles and Lions are from the NFC. So it seems like the Eagles may have, I don't want to say easy, but they have the most likely road. So I don't know why. I feel like they should be more likely, in my opinion, to go all the way back to the Super Bowl again. But what are your guys' thoughts on a Super Bowl matchup for next year? Do you see? I mean, it's very early. The draft
Very
hasn't
early.
even started yet.
Way too
There's
early.
so many things way too early. But just off rip, and just looking at how this season went, who would you have from the AFC? Who would you have from the NFC? I know, Caleb, you're probably going to have Eagles, so you're just picking AFC. But what about everybody else's thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, for the NFC, bless you. For the NFC, I hate to say this, but it's still up in the air, and let me tell you why. As a running back, having a season like this, having an incredible season like this, the next year, stats usually go lower because it takes a toll on your body, okay? Being an NFL running back's not hard, getting hit almost every play. We saw it with McCaffrey. He got hurt for a good part of the season, which caused the 49ers to be out of contention. He was their MVP. He was their best player. That caused them to get out of contention because they realized, oh, we're depending a lot on him, and he's been injured. I'm not saying, I'm not wishing anything. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I don't think Barkley will be the same next year because this season has taken a toll on his body, whether you want to admit it or not.
It's
It's
his
taken a toll.
longest season.
It's a long season. It's the
Yeah.
longest season, yes. It's taking a toll on his body. So will he be able to sustain that next season and do that 17 games plus the playoff games and go to the Super Bowl? It's going to be tough. Okay, as a running back, it's going to be tough to have that upon you. So the Eagles came here simply because they were unstoppable on multiple fronts on offense with Hurts and Barkley. I don't think Barkley's gonna. I don't think he's gonna be able to do what he did this season. So with that being said, I think it'll leave opportunities for other teams to be successful in the NFC. I don't know who it's gonna be. I have to lean towards the Lions because they probably do have a bitter taste in the mouth. It should have been them, right? They were the number one seed.
What do you think about
But
the Commanders? They
I was gonna say
beat the
Commanders could
Lions,
be
so
a
Commanders.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
defense
What
is
do
at
they
least-
need?
people.
Why
I
don't
mean,
the Lions invest in their in defense.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
they had so many injuries on defense, so
Okay.
that's
Oh, okay. Well, they had like
Hutchinson's
Ross-
coming back. They got. I mean, they had 5 cornerbacks get hurt. So I honestly agree with Jonathan. Like, I know everybody wants to say, "Yep, Eagles are going back," but it is tough. I mean, I did a stat a couple years ago for players that have over like 400 implied touches in a season going into a fantasy season. I haven't checked what Barkley's were, but implied touches is basically how many times the team tries to get you the ball. So either a rush or a target in the pass game. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't even looked, but I'm almost positive Barkley's over that mark. And every running back after that season, like, either doesn't do well or gets hurt. And I hope not. I'm wearing his
Yeah.
jersey right now. I'm a
Yeah.
Saquon fan, but
Who was it?
it
2
is-
years ago? Was it Jacobs?
Yeah,
2
Josh
years-
Jacobs. I mean, McCaffrey the year before, and then
McCaffrey,
he
yeah.
got hurt.
Well, I
and then
remember you
Henry
saying-
the year before, and he got hurt. So
Wow.
remember Henry with his foot injury when he was on the Titans. So that
Yeah.
the year before
Yeah.
that, he had over 400 implied touches. So it's tough. I'm going to have to agree with Jonathan. Look, the Lions get back a lot of good players on defense. Yeah, they change offensive coordinators, but I'm thinking Lions or Eagles. That's pretty accurate. And honestly, AFC, I don't know why nobody's talking about the Bengals, because if the Bengals made the playoffs, Burrow probably would have won MVP. All they need is a
Yeah.
defense.
Well,
That's
they
all
gotta
they need.
stop losing the
they're-
first
they're
3-5
they're
games.
gonna
Yeah,
lose
Yeah,
I
too.
know. As
gotta
long
stop doing that.
they're going to re-sign T. Higgins, all they need is some defense. And literally, yeah, Caleb, you're right. You just stop starting the season 0-3, 0-4, and you'll be fine.
I
Just
think
win
they
one
need
of
to
them, and
fire,
statistically, they do so much better.
fire
I mean,
Zach Taylor first.
Yeah, in terms of the AFC, yeah, I think the Chiefs will be back. Okay, I think in terms of the AFC, nobody has assembled a team that can beat them like the Eagles have. Maybe this offseason teams will do that. And maybe they'll get ideas from the Eagles. They're like, oh, that's how you beat them.
Yeah,
let's
maybe,
invest
yeah.
more in defensive line. Let's try to get the top defensive line in this upcoming draft. And I don't know. Teams are going to change their strategy based on what the Eagles saw, because that's how you beat Mahomes. Everyone's realizing that now. So thank you, Eagles. That's what AFC teams are saying. And so it may change, but as of now, I think the Chiefs are going to be back.
All
Yeah,
right,
I'll
so
s-
you have what? Chiefs, Lions, Jonathan,
Chiefs,
and you
Chiefs
have
Lions.
I'm going to
Bengals,
say Bengals,
Lions.
Lions. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go. I'm obviously biased. I'm probably going to pick the Eagles. It's way too early to call, so I'm not locking this. This is written in sand, because I needed Sirianni to. I wanted Sirianni to win, and he won, and I'm like so grateful for Barkley. Far exceeded my expectations, and my caveat with Barkley as well was like, if healthy, he changes games. That was true on the Giants. And there was, I think, the parade was yesterday for the Eagles, and I think the medical staff for the Eagles was like holding a sign, which I thought was kind of cool, like how well run the organization is. It's like 21 out of 22 starters are playing, like we're healthy.
Day one.
Day one starters, yes,
Day one starters. 21 out of
amazing.
22 finished the season.
Wow.
which is like
See,
what we're
that's-
alluding
that's
to
why-
is like like the NFL is so interesting where it is talent, it is sports, it's coaching and players and talent. But so much of the NFL is also the business end, the back end, the people in suits that if they have a good head on their shoulders. I mean, I know Howie Roseman's probably the most hyped up GM, but like that's why you also see the alternative of like when owners are bad, that influences the whole culture, and they're just like, I feel like the Jets are easy to poke fun at, but like they just keep making bad decisions because the owners are involved. That being said, I'll pick the Eagles because one part was I've been pleasantly surprised at how intimately the Jordan brand has been partnering. I know he's been a Jordan brand ambassador or whatever, but they've really like stuck their hat on Jalen Hurts. Those guys at Jordan
Yeah.
in a way that I haven't quite seen with other players. Now maybe I'm not, it's plugged into basketball, but and this is football. But I thought the marketing's been great, and it's interesting that of all the players of the past some years, he's the one of the biggest that I've seen. So I'm like, maybe he's got that energy. And I did say at the last Super Bowl, like no one in 20 some years has lost their first and gone back to win it the second time. And he did it. And I was like, I needed him to do it, and he did it. And I'm thankful. So he has that energy. And Mahomes is probably still, by talent, the best quarterback. I mean, obviously the most, I think, Super Bowls active. But
It's a
like
rematch.
Jalen Hurts has outgunned him in both Super Bowls, statistically speaking. And so
Yeah,
he's got that energy. And
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm saying Hurts has always had the better team every time he's played Mahomes, right? Let's be honest. He's always had the better team all around him.
But
And
he's not the better player.
I mean, he's not the better player, but
well, maybe that's what we have to start saying, because all the debates, even in our QB tier list, we'll have to look at that. But like even pundits were like, we always talk about what Burrow, Jackson, Allen, and then Mahomes, and those four top. And it's like none of those other three guys got rings. So it's like you got to put Hurts at least at number 2 if you're being serious about what the purpose of the quarterback is, which is to win a Super Bowl.
and the thing is, you were talking about Burrow. Burrow has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, some of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, but
okay?
well, it's not about receivers. Look at Josh Allen. They went to the AFC Championship. What receivers do they have?
Well, the thing is, I mean, they went to the AFC Championship, which is great, and they have a pretty decent defense. Yeah, they don't have any superstar receivers on there, and Allen had to be Superman.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, he's not been able to go to the Super Bowl, and there's a reason for that. Okay, you have to be able to diversify your game. You can't just run it every time you're in trouble. And he had the opportunity to win the game. He wasn't able to do that.
Well, he showed up, but his other guys dropped balls. They just weren't quite. That's what we said.
I mean, they lost one drop. What about the other downs? See what I'm saying? What about the other downs? When it gets that close, they're all great. Don't get me wrong, they're all great. When it gets to that other
receiver,
needs-
though. He
Like
needs
that's
some
what we
help.
talk about with the Chiefs Bills, is that the Chiefs get guys. They're not utility players, but they have a team that the players show up and they make those plays when
I
they
mean,
need.
yeah, remember the Patriots? They literally they didn't even have that many great players, but Gronk, Edelman, Amendola. You remember
that's why
James
Brady's so
White?
great.
Literally, they got players. I don't even know how they do it, but these players, like in big moments, Amendola, how is he wide open? He's 5'8", and he's like, and he just gets so much separation.
That's just great. Number one is great coaching. Number two, they always had a great defense, right? They've always had a great defense.
No, that's
I
not
think every
true.
Super Bowl they've
When they
always
lost
had
to
a great defense.
when they lost to the Eagles,
when they lost the Eagles, I mean, they still had a great defense, but Eagles came to
terrible.
play.
You can make the
Eagles
argument
came to
both
play.
when they
defenses
played
gave
against
up.
the Falcons,
And they played
defense
against the
was
Falcons.
terrible that year.
I mean, their defense was terrible, but Bill Belichick is a good coach. He can
It's a
make
little too
good
broad.
adjustments. But
Let me-
I'm saying in general, they've had top 10 defenses every time Brady's won the Super Bowl, and so unlike Mahomes, so yeah,
This was Mahomes' best defense.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't believe that because I don't believe that.
Wait, I thought that.
All right. Anyway,
But let me go to my picks.
Okay, yeah. What's your AFC?
I'm picking
pick
the
here?
Eagles. My concern with the Eagles is what I said even going up to this year was it's not good for a quarterback to be changing offensive coordinators every year, which is what Hurts will be doing. But then again, he's done it. He's finally done it, so he's got that aura. He's got that ability. You brought up a stat, John, that you talked about like the touches, implied touches. It also reminded me of a Cooper Kupp after his legendary year. You were like, I think one of our podcasts, it's like this is statistically impossible almost for him to be as high as he was. And I think the Eagles. My concern is the durability because running backs, staying healthy. If he's healthy, even if he's not as high as this year, his threat of a run, his ability to break a run, I think that's going to be a game changer for the Eagles. We got to still keep him safe and healthy. And even then, without him, so to speak, because injuries happen, it's way too early to call. Eagles can beat you a bunch of other ways too, and it's like keeping that up. But I'll still pick the Eagles. And then honestly, it's way too early to call. But from what I can see right now, who's gonna beat Mahomes? On the AFC side,
Nobody.
It's just those guys as good as they are. And I picked. This was the year I thought Allen could finally do it. And at this point, maybe they take some inspiration from the Eagles. Like it can be done without Brady, without the guy being Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they take that and it's like, okay, if Hurts can do it, he's younger than me, I can do it. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't, but At
That's
this
what the
point,
Bills would do. That's
these
what
are
the Bills would do.
professional men. Like these are professionals. They had to do it. The Bills, they had years and chances to do it. So I just don't see anyone yet pairing up with Mahomes on the AFC. So I got to pick him.
Yeah, that's what the Bills would do. I bet you they're going to try to beef up their defensive line. Maybe
Oh,
this
yeah.
maybe this will do the trick. They
That's
do that
the
every
key.
year.
It's
Maybe this will
these
do
are
it. Maybe
open
change the rules.
secrets.
They'll
Jared,
try
what do you
everything.
think?
I
That's still
definitely go Chiefs. Oh wow, sorry, something just popped up on my thing. Raheem
Oh.
Mostert got released.
Okay. You guys do realize Myles Garrett is still there, right? Who's getting Myles Garrett?
He said he
Yeah.
likes
Where's
he
he
said he
going?
likes the Eagles.
I think
That's what he said. Somebody asked him, and he said, "Oh, the Eagles look
goodness.
pretty good."
which that would actually be.
That would be fair.
Then everyone would start to hate the Eagles again.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, now Chiefs are underdogs.
Yeah, then
Oh, then they use that. That's why I don't like to strut because man, any like the BTA stuff, it can be done to you. You know.
yeah.
But that could have major implications. Which one of these contenders that we talked about? The Bengals, the Bills.
yeah,
Who's getting
I mean,
Myles Garrett?
Yeah,
That
he's
is-
got to go to a
that's
top
huge.
5 team.
He's got to.
Dang, I wonder if the running back position gets revived after this year.
Look, running back.
Wants
We
to
talk.
win a Super Bowl. So
What was
he's
that?
definitely going. He wants to win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, he wants to win Super Bowl. He's
Yeah.
going to contender. Who's going to get him? That's huge. Okay.
But
there's a
also,
lot-
Browns could just screw him over and send him to like the Texans or something.
He'll
Like,
just decline it or something. The Texans. That's not a bad team.
That's not bad. Yeah.
It's actually not a bad.
really.
Texans were playoff.
They were-
What if he goes to Commanders?
I was thinking like
Yeah.
if you're
Commanders
thinking
are the
Super Bowl, I was thinking there's only probably 4 teams you could go to, like Lions, Eagles, Chiefs,
Commanders.
Ravens, maybe.
Bills.
Like,
Bills. Yeah. If he goes to Bills,
but that's not gonna
Oh.
do anything, you know. Like,
well, I don't know, man.
you got to
Myles
think
Garrett, but
he's
he's
been on the
better.
Browns,
He's-
but like, is it that big of an impact?
I think
He's
so.
defensive
Ed
player of the
Oliver-
year. Defensive
Ed
player of the year.
Oliver, Myles Garrett, like that would be a scary.
He's special, but you gotta.
It's tough when a
you
guy
gotta
gets
get the 4
traded,
men.
though.
You need 4 men to do the.
Yeah, you do need
know.
4.
So if you put all your eggs on the Myles Garrett, he's as phenomenal as he is. You make him be Superman. There's 50
Yeah.
other guys that might carry some kryptonite.
If he goes to the Eagles, without a doubt, back to the Eagles go back to
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
The 2 positions that got redefined from that Super Bowl, like defensive line, they're going to be more valuable in the
People
future.
remember.
Running backs this season has shown that hey, they're valuable, right? Barkley,
Yeah.
that's what he did.
Derrick
McCaffrey,
Henry.
usually like the
But
past
you
couple
also
years,
don't need
yeah.
to be like the best running back to have a good season. You have
Right.
to have a good
All
line.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the game of
yeah.
football. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's been such a passing oriented obsession that the fundamentals, man, like what defense win championships, run the ball, like these are still true no matter
Now-
all
Still
the
true.
analytics.
But one thing I want to talk about is I know we've all been talking about the Chiefs going back in the AFC, but if you guys remember, Brady won a Super Bowl in 2002, 2004, 2005. That's 3. Mahomes has 3 right now. Now, Brady didn't win another Super Bowl for 10 years. So he won in 2005. His next Super Bowl he won 2015.
Wow,
And
I didn't realize
he talked about that and he said, yeah, that 2015 Super Bowl, he's like, that really felt good because he's like, after I lost to the Giants once, then I lost to them twice. He's like, wow, shit, I've already won 3 Super Bowls, but this is hard to do. And he ended up winning in 2015. So it's possible that we don't see Mahomes win a Super Bowl for 5 to 10 years. I mean, look, in the AFC, we have Burrow, we have Lamar, we have Allen, we have Stroud. There's a lot of good quarterbacks. Harbaugh's now. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC, and it's possible. Look, Breeze, he got one. I mean, he's in the NFC, but Peyton Manning got one in the AFC. Roethlisberger got one in the AFC. You
Right.
see, look, Josh Allen, as much as we hate on him, probably going to get a Super Bowl. Lamar, probably.
We don't know.
Probably.
We don't
I mean,
know, John.
you're going to say, I mean, these
John's bringing up a
guys,
good point.
Burrow,
He has potential.
Burrow's
Yeah.
probably going to get one. So, like, they're going to have to do it. Like, these teams are getting better. So, I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 10 years, Mahomes only gets like 1 Super Bowl. Like, and then he has to redefine his game like Brady. Well, Brady didn't have to redefine it, but he might have to redefine his game, become a great pocket passer, smarter than everybody else, like Brady did, to win in those later years.
Well, I think
a good
this.
point.
I think this loss was sort of a blessing and a curse. Okay.
Yeah.
He acknowledged, if you watch Mahomes' press conference, he acknowledged he's had issues all season and stuff, and it kind of got exposed in the Super Bowl. It got magnified, and so he has things to work on. I think this loss will kind of motivate him to improve his game. He's gonna realize, okay, I'm actually not as great as I thought I was. I think it's gonna kind of push him to improve and get back here. I don't think Brady had a Super Bowl loss like this where it was a complete like annihilation, right? So he always thought, okay, I'm still good. I'm still capable. Mahomes realizes, okay, I actually look like an embarrassment out there, right? I need to revive my game. I need to get things tweaked if I want to, become one of the GOATs in NFL history. And so I don't know if it will take 10 years like Brady. I still think he'll be able to come back. And
I'm just saying it might be a while. I mean, you have this roster turnover. Okay, does Kelsey actually retire? Tyreek's not coming back. So like you start to see this shift. How Brady went through a lot of different teams, and we're going to start to see if Mahomes can adapt to those different receivers because a constant has been Kelsey, and now
do you think
bring
he
all
still
these
needs
new
him?
receivers. What?
He still I didn't.
But
This
Brady
playoff
did it.
season- I
Brady
I think the
did it with
constant is Reed,
Brady-
to be honest, because
Yeah,
Belichick
constant's
was a
Reed.
lot younger with
Yeah.
Tom
But-
Brady.
yeah,
So
but
Reed
Brady
is
did it
more
with-
closer to retire.
Brady
Yeah.
did it with Wes Welker, Randy Moss, then did it with Gronk and Edelman. So Brady was able to work through these different receivers. Let's see if Mahomes can do that. He did it with Tyreek and Kelsey. He's done it with Kelsey. Okay, let's see. Can he do it with Rasheed Rice? And I
think
don't
the
even know,
scary
but
part,
like you're going to
too,
start
is-
to see that.
Yeah, the scary part too is when the Chiefs are winning, they feel like they don't need to do anything. So the last 2 years they don't do much.
Yeah.
And now that they've lost, it's kind of scary because you're like Caleb, back to your like organization thing. Like if you're a winning organization, like historically, like the Eagles, you go after guys like Barkley. You trade for guys like AJ Brown. And so the Chiefs, winning organization historically, they're not just going to sit back and be like, all right, let's run it back one more time.
Yeah.
But if they won, they'd be like, we're good. Let's keep it all the same and go through. But now that they've lost, it's kind of scary because you're like, what could they do? Like,
I mean,
could they trade
Kind
up
of
to
like
get
kind of like the
players
Golden State Warriors where they lost to LeBron
and
they
get
went to
KD?
KD.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like the Eagles are like the Cavs and the Chiefs are like the Golden State Warriors, and it's like, okay, the upset happened. Eagles won. And now you're looking at the Chiefs, and you're like, "What could they possibly do?"
But
like,
if you-
and they go get they go get a
Miles
Kevin
Garrett.
Durant like player, which could be Miles
Miles
Garrett,
Garrett.
or it
Ugh.
could be
Yeah.
If they get Miles Garrett, that changes
Tyreek
things.
Hill
It's
back.
the sum of the parts, though.
Tyreek
because
Hill
basket-
back. Yes.
No, you guys are on to. I'm just elaborating on the point because I think you guys are right. One is in basketball, it's one player makes it's the proportional difference on a scale that you don't see on the NFL team when it's 1-50 because you got to pay other people. It's the sum of the parts. I think I saw a stat too. I know John, you had a point, so we'll get in a moment. But I saw a stat of like it was like something with it was a business term for salary cap negotiations, like dead. It wasn't. I don't think it was dead money, but it was like voided money, or it was like an amount of like it was an amount that indicated how aggressive the team was in financing. And the Eagles were like top 3 or 5. The Chiefs were bottom 20, I think. And it's like one of those business terms. I'm forgetting what it is.
this year,
but
or
it's
just like over the years.
this year. And
Oh,
but it was
this
a
year.
statement by this account that was like saying like if the Chiefs want to compete for the future, they got to get more aggressive in how they acquire and keep talent and finance it.
Which
And
I
it's
feel like you don't
going
want
back the
to you don't want to fix things if you're going back to back Super Bowls.
like
you know?
why if we're saving money, why are we trying to do this and that? But John, you had a point.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the Chiefs 2 years ago when they lost, or 4 or 5 years ago when they lost to the Bucks, their offensive line was terrible. Came back, revamped the offensive line, went back, won a Super Bowl. Then last year we were saying, oh, they got lucky to win the Super Bowl. They had no receivers. Okay, they go get DeAndre Hopkins. Rasheed Rice gets a year older. They get Marquise Brown, and before
Xavier
the
Worthy.
season, Xavier Worthy. You're like, okay, yeah, we did everything we need. If you're a Chiefs fan, yet they still lose. But isn't it amazing how the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl? But it's like how one loss, if you don't win the Super Bowl, now you're like, well, how did the Chiefs fail? Yeah, they don't keep the offensive line. But if they just won that game, we'd be like, they're geniuses. So it's like,
it's like you overcome all that.
yeah, it's like they actually had a really good season, winning 15 games. Even though they got lucky, they made clutch
What's
plays.
even
You won the
scarier?
games. That's a good
What's
point,
scarier
yeah.
is the AFC couldn't beat them. Like
Right.
to see the Eagles absolutely obliterate them, and then you look at the AFC and they're like, how could you not beat this team? Which means
Yeah.
if the Chiefs revamp their offense and defense or whatever, then I feel like nothing the Bills or Ravens could do because you couldn't even beat this team. So it's even more demoralizing for the AFC.
It's a great point too. And I wonder, going back to John, your point about like the 10-year gap with Brady. It's fascinating because he got close. I think he was in a few Super Bowls.
I mean, he almost had an undefeated season in one of them.
Exactly.
So like he was
So
still
it's not-
really good.
why
It's
did
not
kind
like
of
they
the same.
sucked for 10
Why
years. It's
didn't
just
he?
it's a game of
I
inches.
can't remember why.
So he would get stopped by Peyton Manning in the playoffs, or they'd lose. I think he lost twice in the Super Bowls. But like he was in the playoffs every time. It's just football's a game of inches, and sometimes it's close and you don't. So he was stopped a few. It's not like they sucked for 10 years. Like he was on the precipice every time. I bring
But-
that up because with Mahomes, he's still a special player, who's respected. I the most accomplished player in the league right now. But I wonder too if his chances are higher because I mean, one is the guys that stopped Brady were Roethlisberger's, Breeze, like Hall of Fame status legends. And I'm not saying, I don't mean this as a dig to Burrow, Allen, or Jackson, because I think they can make their cases. But we talked about this a few years ago. Like we got to see the changing of the guard with the quarterbacks become new franchise quarterbacks. These new guys are they on par with the guards of old? The fact that we lived in a league with Breeze having had a Super Bowl win, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, guys that aren't always in the conversation but still always present, were what stopped Brady from. We look back on it, it's like, oh, Brady must have dominated for 20 years. In a way, he did, but like not every time. And so, can these guys stop Mahomes if he's the number one? And on the AFC side, they haven't done it yet. So it's like, will they be ever able to do it? And it's a bit of the gambler's fallacy, so I don't want to say they can't.
But at
like,
that
that's what I
point,
wonder
remember-
is different. If they're not, if we're comparing them to those guys, is it a fair comparison?
And we were only 7 or 8 years old at that point. But Brady won in 2002, and when he won in 2002, his first one, it wasn't necessarily people were like, "Oh wow, this guy Brady's really good." They were just like, "Oh, that defense was insane," and Brady was just the quarterback. No, but then he won in 2004. He won in 2005, and then you start to think like, well, okay, nobody's beating this team, and then people start to beat them. So it will happen. But one point I wanted to bring up. Look at what the NFC East has done. They stopped the undefeated season. The Giants beat the Patriots again, and the Eagles stopped 2 three-peats. I saw somebody bring up that the Patriots won in 2017. They won the Super Bowl over the Falcons. They also won in 2019 against the Rams. But if they won in 2018 against the Eagles, that would have been a three-peat. And then the Eagles stopped the Chiefs' actual three-peat chance.
But it's
guys-
between the NFC East. I mean, I'll tip my hat to the Giants
Yeah.
too. We have a history of taking down Titans, which
I
You guys
remember.
are for the people, man.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
really for the people.
I remember. I mean, I remember when I remember that entire season for the Patriots being undefeated. It was going to be the first undefeated season ever, and all that stuff. And they didn't. You were able to do it. So it's kind of like the same thing, right? Like it was going to be the first three-peat in NFL history. They kept on talking about it. And the media, I blame the media for that. They get it in the players' heads and all that, and that's what the storyline is. And so there's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of pressure on the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? There's a lot of pressure on the Chiefs about making this NFL history and stuff. And so I think that has an effect on the team. Right? It has an effect on the team.
Yeah.
Will
Oh,
we
it's
be
a
able to
lot.
have that undefeated season? Will we
never
be
been
able
done
to get
before. It's And that's what people are saying with Mahomes' legacy. I'll let you go, Jared. That like, had he gotten to three-peat, he would. I think the argument would legitimately be, you'd have a better argument than you have now of him being better than Brady potentially.
Now it's paused.
Now it's paused because it's like, even if he goes another 3 year, well, it'll be 3 more years potentially to get another chance at the three-peat, and even then he'd be what, one less ring than Brady.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, which is still, he's on pace like no one else. He's still young.
Yeah, he's on pace. That's what I'm
But
saying, yeah.
John brings up a good point that we see it so often the past few years that it's not a given.
Yeah, if
Jared,
this
you-
guy gets to 7 Super Bowls, that would be insane. I mean, with the talent that's in the AFC, even though Allen and Lamar, we haven't seen them do it. Trust me, these guys are only getting better. I mean, they're in their 20s still. I mean, these guys. I mean, Brady played till he's 40. Not that he's gonna play that long, but I mean,
Yeah, Breeze
Breeze
was
was
there in his 30s.
great until 36, 37. I mean,
Yeah.
that means Josh Allen has 8 more years. So like, these guys are getting better. So Mahomes, he's got a tough road.
He does have a tough road, and I'll let you go, Jared. But I think a lot of us, even though he didn't win the three-peat, a lot of us still compare him to Michael Jordan in terms of basketball. How Michael Jordan stopped all these greats from winning championships. I think we could still see that.
on
Mahomes
the
is
AFC
stopping.
side?
Yeah, on the AFC side. He's like, look, Allen,
yeah.
Lamar Jackson, Burrow. Those are some of the biggest names we've ever, heard of in terms like in NFL history. Yes, Roethlisberger and Rodgers and all that, but these guys are bigger stars. I think these guys are bigger stars, but yet
In
they're still
today's
not
game,
able to
yeah.
in today's game. But yet they're still not able to, reach win the
It's a
Super
good
Bowl.
comparison,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of seeing. I don't know. I'm fed up on. I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy, but for the AFC, I see so much talent with those guys that you mentioned.
So
And I'm
much
like, they
talent.
haven't been able to do it.
I think Chiefs will be back next year, and then the Eagles also will be back next year. And the reason for that is I think they probably won't add many people, but I want to look at who they are losing in free agency, just for sure.
For Eagles
or
or both.
for Eagles.
Okay.
Zach Bond, 89% snap count. So he played amazing, obviously. So I would assume they could re-sign him, but I don't know if they have the money. Then Mekhi Becton, probably a 1-year deal with him. He'll probably leave. And Josh Sweat. Those are the only 3 guys that had over 50% of the snaps, or played over 50% of the snaps. That's kind of scary. Then you look at Brandon Graham, probably going to retire, so you're going to lose him. But those are just people that you could potentially lose. Even if you lose all those guys, you're going back. You're going back, at least going back, because we talked about it before. They're all these guys are on rookie deals. So you think about Nakobe Dean and all the Georgia guys. You look at Cooper DeJean and Mitchell. Like, these guys are good for 4 years. And then you look at even Nakobe Dean earlier. He's got 2 more years left on his rookie deal. So you have all these guys on a rookie deal. You can save money for this short window of time. Because once those are up, you guys are screwed. Like, you guys are so you're going to have so many people they're going to have to let go. It's going to go back to what we talked about with the Bengals, where we're like, hey, they have a short window because you got Burrow, you got Chase, you got Tyler Boyd, and you got T. Higgins. And you had Joe Mixon. Now you see 4 years later, 5 years later with the Bengals, Mixon's gone. Tyler Boyd's gone. T. Higgins about to be gone. That's
Who's
the
that
window
defensive
that
player?
you have.
Henderson. Is it Hendricks? Or-
Yeah,
Trey
Trey
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson, yeah.
He's still there.
But
But
they-
The
they
thing
don't know if
is,
they'll sign
it's, yes, the Eagles have a good chance, but remember, if that game against the Rams wasn't in the snow, we could argue that the Rams would have won that game because they were still the Eagles dominated that game, and the Rams had a chance to win it.
Rams had
They
a
were at the
chance to win.
20-yard line with
Yeah.
a minute left. They had plenty of time,
Yeah.
and they went 4th and out. But
yeah, and I
like,
think also
it's
on,
like
on top of that, though, with the Eagles, I look at organizations. Who has bad luck, bad organization? Bills, Lions. For some reason, they just have bad luck. And the Lions are going to be your biggest threat. And I think as an organization and player-wise, the Eagles are better in every sense.
It's tough, like the medical staff holding up that sign. 21 of the 22 week 1 starters played in the Super Bowl, whatever. Like, do you realize, like, that's not even, yes, great job by the medical staff, but that you have to have a lot of luck for that to
Yeah, a
happen.
lot of luck.
too. Like, you realize
Hard work
how
and luck to
difficult
win
it
the
is.
Super Bowl.
Like,
it's both.
Yeah,
I'm not
there's a
saying
lot
I'm not saying the
more
reason you won the Super Bowl is luck. I'm just saying for you to go back next year, you have to have some injury luck. Like, that's just
everybody-
what
If
it
Burrow-
is.
That's what I'm saying.
if Burrow-
Organizations
Super
and
Bowl
bad
with, like,
luck.
Hey, if
The
Burrow
Lions
wasn't
have bad luck.
if Burrow wasn't healthy, if Burrow was healthy these past years and he didn't have any injury, he probably would have
Right,
won
exactly.
an
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
I don't
Yeah.
know, because the Bengals. I've said this from the day he was drafted that organization does not. I think it's a reputation that they're one of the cheapest owners in the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, the
they just don't-
Bengals?
The Bengals, I believe. I'm talking about luck is a one factor, Jared. That you're right because
They're gonna have to spend money if they want to win, though.
If they
Precisely.
let T. Higgins walk, Joe Burrow's never win a Super Bowl. Never.
Oh,
just
come
because
on.
of what it
Never
not even because
Dude,
of Higgins, but what it
Higgins is
represents.
coming
Do you know
back.
how Joe Burrow might have 5 years left? You know
What?
How much
I'm
he
just-
got?
I'm
What are you
He's had-
saying?
You know how much
many
he's gotten?
5
I don't
years, he's
agree,
got 10.
He gets injured.
But
He
he's
gets
gotten
injured a
hit.
lot.
So he's gotten sacked. Actually, I'm curious what the numbers would be. Who has gotten sacked the most in the Super Bowl he
Yeah.
went to? He was the most sacked, and they didn't fix the problem substantially.
Dude, he's got way
no,
more
I don't
than
think
5
years.
You
Organizationally,
said more than
though,
5 years?
Yes, are you kidding me?
He gets injured all the time. That's what
He's
I-
not
I-
even 30, dude.
He's
I know, but
definitely
he keeps,
impressed.
like,
No,
he keeps getting injured. Like how long
Yeah,
can that
it's
go?
the
gotta
It's
protect
concerning.
him. It's the They gotta spend money if they want to
Yeah,
win.
they're not stupid. They see it.
No, but they let these guys walk. So like that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like I
It's
think
hard,
overall, when you look at organizations, Chiefs and Eagles right now, they
Yeah.
spend money when they want to,
Yeah,
and when
yeah.
they need to. I think the Chiefs are going to end up spending money. I think they're going to make some moves with draft picks. Eagles,
What about
superstar
49ers?
is going to fall to the Eagles.
What about
Just-
49ers though? Like
49ers are falling off.
I
They're
mean,
about to.
that-
They're
they're
about to sign
McCaffrey's
Brock.
coming back.
This is their window. Boom, done. It's
What?
over. You
McCaffrey's
screwed it.
coming back.
You screwed
Dude, he's
it.
not gonna be the same. Brock Purdy also is there.
screwed it.
Y'all, I mean, y'all realize
Purdy's
he's not that
great.
great.
They're gonna re-sign
Debo.
him.
Debo's gone. CMC's
Debo's
What
gone.
if
not the
what
same.
if
Brock
what if Aaron
Purdy's
what if
done.
Aaron Rodgers goes to the Vikings? What about Vikings?
Completes the service.
Wait,
Rodgers
yeah.
is washed, bro. Rodgers is
Where did that
washed.
come from?
Hey, Rodgers is washed.
What about
The
the Bears?
Vikings.
Bears?
Bears organizationally, I don't trust them.
Bears for what?
Bears,
Playoffs?
Super Bowl.
Tanking.
Or
Super
like the
Bowl.
Woods.
Taking,
Yeah, Bear.
For what?
What are we talking about? We're talking about the
Grizzly?
Super Bowl here.
Black Bears survival? Oh, Super Bowl. What does that mean? No.
No, it's done. It's done.
yeah, I can't believe. I mean, if I was the Bills, I'd feel sick.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
Now
Yeah.
because Xavier Worthy, like
This was our chance.
He will be special, despite the garbage time like
This is
attempts.
our chance.
He's gonna be good. Xavier
Yeah.
Worthy.
All right. Well, that'll be all for the Super Bowl episode. I think that was great. We had a little bit of future, a little bit of present.
Yeah, cathartic.
Yeah. This will probably be the last podcast for a little bit. We'll take a little bit of a break, and yeah. What a season! What is
What a
season
season.
5?
Great season.
Season, guys.
Hey, didn't Dak say next year is our turn, or didn't he say it's our turn or something?
I think he said this year, as in like last year. He's like the Dallas Cowboys will win the Super Bowl.
Oh, with
So
Aaron
I
Andrews,
don't take
think.
his word for anything.
Yeah,
Did you see with
Hey,
Jerry Jones
that's
said he
timing.
was surprised that the Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl
he said that.
before last week? He's like,
Sometimes
honestly,
it's
I'm
wiser
surprised that the Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl.
Man, these guys
Sometimes
are
it's
driving
wiser
me.
not to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Just shut up,
Yeah,
please.
The two ways of saying it.
Man. And by the next time we'll do a podcast, Jonathan will be back on the Cowboys train, hyping up this no-name.
well,
coach.
we'll
I
be
feel
talking. We'll be talking around draft time, and if they get Genty,
Oh yeah. Stay
That
tuned.
could
We
be-
might get some interviews. We'll try to.
John,
Okay.
all you had to say was a last name.
and here-
all I said was one name, and that
We're gonna
changed.
say-
Last name of a guy in Boise, and he's already hyped.
Okay. We'll get
there's hope.
somewhere.
There's hope.
So
Hey, every
Cowboys Super
team-
Bowl now.
every
If
team
they
has
get
the
Genty,
exact
that
same
changes things.
access.
That changes
We've
everything.
seen running backs change things. Eagles.
That's true. When you had DeMarco,
49ers.
Elliott,
Heck yeah.
DeMarco, when you had a RB1,
Yeah,
that's
you had a
actually
good
when the
team.
most hype was the
Stop
most
it!
realistic.
Stop it! Don't give him hope. He was
like
he was
him and the
coming
Joker.
down. He was getting down to our level. And now he's back up to over expectations.
I'm excited
All
for
right.
the draft. I'm excited for the draft now.
I'm the most excited for the draft
I can't wait for the draft.
I've ever been. This is the most. I mean, I did go to the Senior Bowl, so it's cool. And like, I mean, y'all, I've told you guys this for years. Like, and now I'm starting to appreciate y'all. Like, this is where I'm excited. I'm just excited.
The draft starts in Mobile
Yeah,
Yep.
and
How it
ends in
changes.
Mobile for some guys.
especially after Cooper DeJean. You know,
what is it? What's his name? Not Shador Sanders, but his brother. He didn't. was it
Shiloh.
He didn't get invited to the draft. Y'all heard that?
Yeah, because it's nepotism. He's only good because he has the last name.
oh,
He's so bad. He's like the worst
Oh,
player
did y'all
I've
see
ever
him?
seen in my life.
I heard he got
No.
torched in the Senior Bowl like several times.
Yeah, watch his one-on-ones. You'll find him on TikTok. He's terrible. No, he's utterly terrible. And he wears this helmet that makes him look even worse. So he has no
you're
swag.
roasting his helmet.
Yeah, he has no swag. He has no talent.
Not like who was that guy? With
Shiloh, at least. I mean, not Shiloh.
Shador.
Shador, like,
At least, yeah.
he's got the Rolex. He's swaggy, dude. He's going to the Giants for sure. So
Wow.
that would be exciting. But all right. Thank you guys again so much for watching and listening. If you haven't already, go follow us over on TikTok and Instagram at Dorn Bay Podcast and subscribe to the YouTube channel down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. And as always, we will not see you guys next week.
Thanks for a great year. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's been fun.
thank
It's
We
you
got
guys.
still got some great stuff coming up in the off season.